Weaver from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
It's Gregor. Morning, Paul. What's the latest on Paul Stastny status?
Yeah, we'll make that decision at game time. He got through the morning skate wall. We'll see how he comes to the rink.
We'll go next to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Hi, Paul. The defense we're talking about, I don't know if the word's activation, but needing to be more involved in order to create offense. Can you give me an idea of what's being asked of them this evening?
Yeah, it would be nothing, Sean, that is not part of what we do. We've got to get to the point that we're moving the puck a little quicker, a little faster, and that allows the activation. If we're getting shut down at the line an awful lot, then your D will stop joining, right? They'll anticipate a puck coming back. So this is more instinct necessarily than systems. It's no different than a back checking forward. If you have a good back checking forward, your D's gap will be better. If you're making good solid decisions with the puck through the neutral zone, then your D will activate more often on the way up the ice.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from 680 CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Good morning, Paul. Even though it will be a small crowd, how much do you think that will impact on the emotions of both teams? Montreal's been through this drill once before, but this will be a first off for your club.
Well, I think you're right on there. Both teams, like the energy in the building will be high for us for sure tonight, and a loud crowd. And albeit we're taking what we can get from home and road, so it'll be a positive for us.
Go back to Kelly Moore for a follow-up. Go ahead, Kelly.
Paul, you just stressed the need to play quicker and faster in this hockey game, even more so than what you did in game two. But what about balancing, the situation you're in? And let's face it, everybody knows that if, you're not able to win tonight, then it makes this series very, very difficult. So do you want your players to kind of block that out, or do you want them to have some of that urgency or desperation in their game tonight because of losing the first two at home?
Yeah, I don't think blocking it out decreases the urgency. I think you want what you're really trying to create is a certain amount of freedom, right? So that there's not a tension in their game, because we do need to go quicker. We need to move the puck faster. We got to get our feet going here a little bit. So there is a certain amount of freedom that you have to feel out there, a confidence, a looseness, without being casual.
We'll go next to Ted Weinman from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Ted.
Well, it seems a bit like quicker and faster is a bit of a theme. Is that the key to dealing with just trying to make the little passes when they're checking so tightly, and also for trying to get shots through because they're blocking so many?
Right. We feel that we can skate better than we did. I think you saw it in game two over game one. We still think there's another level for us, and that quickness, the puck movement, or the feet impacts all parts of your game: breakouts, counters, also defense, right? How you defend the gap that you close. So we're hoping to build over the course of this 7-game series.
Go back to Ken Weaver from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Paul, what stood out about Kristian Vesalainen's performance the other night, and what did he do to earn that promotion?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was hard and heavy, but also he's got some hands. If you're going to nitpick his game, I thought that what you saw maybe was a little inexperience at times. The confidence to hold on to a puck and make a play when he should, and then the urgency to get it off his stick when he didn't have as much time as he thought. And that just comes with playing games. So I really liked Kristian's game.
Go back to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Paul, I asked this knowing the answer may very well be everyone on the roster, but in a game where you're trying to get to Carey Price, get the puck in front of the net, kind of jam it in there, is there certain players that you look to specifically to potentially set that tone or accomplish that job?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger men are always the guys that you look to get in that front, because it's kind of how they got into the NHL and it's what they do. But we will need to have all players there. We need to, and that would be it's Carey Price, and it's no different than any guy, right? If he sees it, he's going to stop it. So, and that's true of Connor Hellebuck as well. So we got to get into his eyes a little bit. We're not talking about, I think the referees have done a really good job here in this series of protecting those two guys. And I think they should, and both teams want that. So we've got to be smart about how we get into that blue paint or get near that blue paint. And then, but we do have to get in his line of sight.
Go next to Guillaume Lafrancois from La Presse. Go ahead, Guillaume.
Good morning, Paul. It seems to me like the defenseman's ice time was maybe a bit more balanced on your team during the season than it has been thus far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what sort of dictates those decisions and the way you plan it out.
Well, some of it's special teams. You get into the regular season, sometimes you'll run guys minutes, depending on how many penalties you get. We are, when you're chasing a game, and we have been for the last two, you're going to get your offensive guys are just going to get more time. So when we got flat games like we had in game 2 of the Edmonton series, when you're talking about an evenly played game and the score's even, you'll see a real balanced minutes come off our bench. But when you're chasing the game, you're just going to see more of Morrissey and Pionk.
Final question to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Paul, when you've had to alter your lines the way you did for game 2 because of the suspension to Mark and then Paul not being in there, how much does that impact on your in-game decisions to further change the lines if you have to? Because, patience is one of the things that you've talked about wanting, from the club and that sort of thing. So does that impact at all on your decision to, things aren't going well?
I mean, it does, Kelly, because there's 2 pieces missing that you could potentially move around, right? With those 2 guys out of your lineup, there's just not as much to do with your lines in terms of style of play and what guys can accomplish. We flip-flopped Perreault and Vesalainen. We really, really liked Matty when he played with Lowry and Appleton. And I liked where Vess was at, so I kind of rolled those 2 guys. But yeah, there's fewer options when you have those 2 guys out.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be